St. Louis, September 2022. 19-year-old Hans Niemann just beat the world number one. He says he feels bad for him. Hours later, Magnus Carlsen withdraws without a word. Nobody knew it yet, but this was not just a walkout. This was the opening move in a war that would cost one man his career, drag another into court, and force the entire chess world to ask a question it had been avoiding for years. Chess is a billion-dollar industry, powered by streaming platforms, global tournaments, and a new generation of digital fans. At the top of this world, reputation is everything. Magnus Carlsen, the reigning world champion, is more than just a player. He is a brand. In 2022, his Play Magnus Group sold for $84 million to Chess.com, merging his image with the largest chess platform on the planet. Carlsen's endorsement or suspicion can move markets, shape careers, and decide who gets to play on the biggest stages. For most grandmasters, the stakes are not measured in millions, but in the fragile balance of invitations, sponsorships, and streaming deals. Hans Niemann's story is a sharp contrast to Carlsen's. Raised without a permanent home, Niemann spent his childhood traveling from country to country, living out of suitcases, chasing tournaments that offered little more than a chance to prove himself. He once told ESPN, "Without chess, I have nothing. No money, no home, no future." In this environment, an accusation is more than a blow to pride. It is a threat to livelihood. Prize money, appearance fees, and endorsements depend on trust. A single whisper from someone with Carlsen's influence can mean lost invitations, vanished income, and a door slammed shut on a career. The chess world's value is estimated at over $1 billion, and it rests on the credibility of its stars and the perception of fair play. When Carlsen speaks, organizers and sponsors listen. Niemann's rise was sudden and steep, but always precarious. Every tournament was a lifeline, every sponsor a brief reprieve. He played not just for trophies, but for a shot at stability. That is why what happened next mattered so much. In chess, reputation is not just about honor, it is about survival. On July 7th, 2020, an email arrived in Chess.com's internal system. Hans Niemann, then just 17, wrote plainly that he had cheated in some online games and promised to stop. The message, preserved in the company's anti-cheating records, read in part, "I have cheated on some games. I will stop now." It was a private confession, never intended for public eyes. Chess.com's response was swift but silent. An internal ticket labeled Case HN 2020-03 was opened by a senior analyst. The evidence, flagged games, move-by-move engine matches, and the email was gathered into a case file. The decision was a 30-day suspension, quietly enforced. Niemann's account was removed from prize money ladders, and a suspension notice was sent directly to him. The language was direct, effective immediately. His access was revoked pending further investigation. No public statement followed. In Chess.com's public blog posted months later, the company mentioned only that a user had violated fair play policy. Niemann's name did not appear. The details of his admission, the flagged games, and the internal memo recommending suspension all remained sealed inside the company's secure system. Even as Niemann returned to play after his ban, the chess world remained unaware that one of its rising stars had confessed to cheating. Chess.com's anti-cheating unit, a small team armed with proprietary detection tools and human review, handled the matter as a closed loop. The rationale for secrecy was grounded in privacy and the hope of rehabilitation. Yet the silence created a tension that would linger for years. When the story finally broke, it would raise uncomfortable questions. Who decides what the public deserves to know? How many other names were buried in confidential files? For Niemann, the episode was a hidden red flag that would one day resurface, reshaping his career and the chess world's trust in its own institutions. Magnus Carlsen's silence after his Sinquefield Cup defeat did not last. 3 weeks later, he released a terse public statement. "I believe that Niemann has cheated more and more recently than he has publicly admitted." With those words, the world champion transformed private suspicion into a global scandal. Carlsen refused to play Niemann in any future event, and his decision was quickly echoed across the chess world. The message was clear. Niemann was not just under scrutiny, he was being cast out by the sport's most powerful figure. Within days, Chess.com published a 72-page investigative dossier. The dossier claimed Niemann had likely cheated in more than 100 online games, including prize money events and live stream matches. The report detailed statistical evidence, move-by-move analysis, engine correlation rates, and logs from Chess.com's anti-cheating system. According to their findings, 117 games crossed the cheating threshold, with 86 of those played for cash prizes. The report also cited video from live streams showing cursor movements and move patterns that match top chess engines with uncanny precision. Grandmasters brought in as independent reviewers described Niemann's play as indistinguishable from engine output. The scale of the accusation was unprecedented. No other grandmaster in recent history had been publicly accused with such statistical force. The report's release triggered a media frenzy. Headlines appeared in the New York Times, The Guardian, and ESPN. Social media exploded with speculation and memes. Elon Musk amplified a wild theory about vibrating anal beads, turning the story from a chess controversy into a global pop culture phenomenon. For Niemann, the consequences were immediate and severe. Tournament organizers withdrew invitations. Sponsors distanced themselves. His online following collapsed. The narrative had shifted. Niemann was no longer just a talented upstart. He was now the face of chess's deepest trust crisis. As the scandal spread, Niemann's own words from earlier in the year echoed with new weight. He had said, "Without chess, I have nothing. No money, no home, no future." The reputational blow was not just personal. It was professional, financial, and existential. In a world where a single accusation can erase a career, Niemann found himself fighting not just for vindication, but for survival. On October 20th, 2022, Hans Niemann filed a $100 million lawsuit in federal court, naming Magnus Carlsen, Chess.com, Play Magnus Group, Hikaru Nakamura, and Daniel Wrench as defendants. The complaint alleged defamation, conspiracy, and antitrust violations, claiming that a coordinated effort had destroyed his reputation and livelihood. The legal action made headlines, but it also exposed the absence of a clear authority in chess to judge such disputes. There was no independent body to determine guilt, innocence, or the boundaries of fair play. The world's most powerful player could accuse, and the world's largest platform could investigate, but no one outside that circle could deliver a final verdict. The case moved quickly. In June 2023, the U.S. District Court dismissed Niemann's antitrust claims with prejudice, closing the door on any future refiling. The defamation claims were also thrown out, with the judge finding that Niemann had not met the high legal bar needed to prove actual malice or conspiracy. The dismissal stung. Niemann's legal team had argued that Carlsen's words and Chess.com's report had cost him tournament invitations, sponsorships, and trust. But the court's decision left him without a remedy, and without a public clearing of his name. Within weeks, the parties reached a confidential settlement. Chess.com reinstated Niemann's account, and Carlsen issued a statement acknowledging that no evidence of over-the-board cheating had ever been found against Niemann. The terms of the agreement remained sealed. There was no apology, no admission of wrongdoing, and no formal exoneration. Niemann regained access to the world's largest chess platform, but the damage was already done. Tournament invitations had dried up. Sponsors had moved on. The professional circuit, once a lifeline, had closed its doors. The aftermath revealed a deeper problem. Chess has no central adjudicator, no governing body with the authority to resolve disputes between players, platforms, and organizers. When accusations fly, the consequences are immediate and personal, but the path to resolution is murky. In Niemann's case, the absence of a trusted referee left him suspended between suspicion and silence. The settlement ended the lawsuit, but not the uncertainty. For Niemann and for chess, the question of who decides justice remains unanswered. Today, a single accusation can erase years of work in an instant, no matter the evidence, no matter the appeal. The chess world still weighs silence over certainty. For every rising talent, the question remains: does truth stand a chance against power? Share your thoughts below.